Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however this catches you. If it's Monday, it's Beyond Babbitt, and this is your host, Brian Anthony. A lot on my mind today. There's a lot on my mind today. There's been a major escalation and things to come. I haven't checked the stock market yet to see if it's up or down or whatever, see how it's going to react. Um, there's breaking news that there was a major explosion in Syria um, at some type of military base. They said the Russians and the Iranians were saying it was either Israel or the U.S. that struck. And they're saying that it maybe was a tactical nuke. And we're saying that it wasn't a tactical nuke. And it's kind of looking like it was Israel. Because basically, Iran has been saying they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the map. And they're surrounding Israel. So Israel said they're not going to stand for them setting up um, military bases in Syria. So they're bombing them. And they said it set off an earthquake, a pretty sizable earthquake. The explosion was so big. Major escalation. Russia's saying that they're going to retaliate. They're bringing in more air defense. And at the same time, most nations are saying, oh no, this is not going to lead to nuclear war. Well, what they're saying and what they're doing are not adding up. You're bringing in more troops, more weaponry, stuff to fight with, but you're saying, oh no, it's not going to lead to a bigger war. It's definitely going to lead to a bigger war. The next major chess move that's been made recently, North Korea and South Korea have agreed to peace talks. They've technically been at war since there was an armistice or something. There was no peace treaty since the 50s. And basically we didn't have a peace treaty with them either because it was a United Nations war that the United States led against North Korea, and China backed North Korea. So if they make peace, because they were shaking hands and hugging, either North Korea is going to try to be like South Korea, or South Korea is going to try to be like North Korea. The difference is one is communist, socialist, and the other is capitalist, uh, democracy or democratic republic. So this is the chess move. Of course, North Korea is. They're saying that this all brought about, according to Q, because POTUS kicked the CIA out of North Korea and neutered them, took their nuclear weapons, and so now he wants peace, possibly. There's always another side to the story, because not only if the CIA did have a hand in North Korea, also China, it's on their doorstep. China's, come on now. So this is going to be a war between Xi and Trump for influence, the hearts and the minds. So South Korea is an ally of the U.S. They make Hyundai and Kia and a lot of other electronics, things like that. The English that they learn in their schools is American English. The English that a lot of other countries learn, Asian countries like China, they learn like a British type of English where the words are even spelled different and the sentence structure is different sometimes. The accent is definitely different as well. But the South Koreans learn an American accent, and so they can come straight from South Korea and you can pretty much understand what they're saying, sentence structure and all. So, is China going to strip us from our ally in the South China Sea and turn them communist, an extension of North Korea, an extension of China, and kick the U.S. out? Or is the U.S. going to turn North Korea into the next South Korea, to where they're leaning U.S. and want to use the U.S. currency and have Western ways, putting more pressure on China right on their doorstep? Major escalation. And now China's talking about how big and bad their bombs are. Their newest and baddest weapons. So these things are pressing. This is just the world news. We know this thing's gonna form, right? It's written. It's written. For all of us who believe, we already know it's coming. Yeah. But how should we fare? What should we do while this stuff is brewing up? You don't just sit around and just wait. No, you have to live. You can't just close yourself off from the world and go into a bunker. No, we don't have those type of means, because it could take another year, 7 years, 10 years, 100 years. Who knows, right? We know it's going to happen. That's a fact. So, in the meanwhile, let's keep our mind on just, loving family, friends, God, mainly, most importantly, and prospering and passing that on to others. Love, sharing the love, spreading the wealth, right? Until that time comes. So, I have a few passages here. Let me get into. Of course, this is Beyond Babbitt, so it's about going beyond, above and beyond business, but this is business the biblical way. Money, the responsible way, how it was meant. Because now we're most of us are trained, conditioned to be a certain way and to think of wealth and money a certain way, but that's not the reality of it. So open your eyes, and we're going to see the truth here. Okay? I'm ready. So, a lot of times, the way things fail, people fail, and I was having a conversation with some of the fellas the other day, and they were talking about a young guy, a young artist who's just doing type of things, and the way he's moving, behaving himself, conducting his business is not in a manner that's conducive to the building of relationships of respect or the even understanding of relationships. And it came to our attention that he had no idea of what he was doing. No one taught him. No one told him. No one explained to him the rules of how things really go. There was no one elder in his life to give him good counsel. That's definitely a part of life and a part of business. I mean, there's only so much you can learn from a book, but the books are not fluid, which means they only tell it to you one way. What if there's another variable introduced? How do you work that out? So there are people who've already been through that and who understand how things are. And you talk to people, you communicate with people. That's where the rest of the information comes from. Okay. With that said, let's go to the good book, right? Proverbs. Chapter 11, verse 14. And it reads like this: Where no counsel is, the people fall. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. In other words, you don't know everything. You haven't been through every situation. Sometimes you need to check with others who maybe have more experience or maybe just smarter people or have a different understanding. That way you can get a full picture of things before you move to prevent making mistakes. Let's go again to Proverbs. I like old Solomon, yeah, at this point anyway. Um, Proverbs 15 and 22. And it says this: without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. You see what I'm saying? You need people who know what they're talking about. You need people, you know what I'm saying? You got to be careful who you're listening to, because if you're getting information from people that don't have the understanding, it's the blind leading the blind. In other words, you know what I'm saying? You need people who know what they're talking about and can kind of guide you through. You don't need somebody with a bunch of questions and they don't know themselves, but they giving you the answer. Y'all both gonna fail. One more out of Proverbs, shall we? Proverbs 24, verse 6. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in the multitude of counselors there is safety. See? You see? It's just war gaming everything out. Counselors, people who could, see where you're going, see the path you're on, guidance, a roadmap, a GPS navigation, to get you where you're going, to know where you are, identify it, because sometimes we have blinders. Sometimes we can't see where we are. It requires others to give us a feel on that and point us in the right direction and give us directions. Communicate with people, the right people. Let's look at another book, Ecclesiastes, and that's also another one of Solomon's writings, The Preacher. And this is very important in the times that we're about to go in, because it's about prepping, but it's about love, it's about togetherness and oneness. So think about what this one says. Ecclesiastes 11 and 2. And it says, give a portion to 7, and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. In other words, it's wealth building and stuff like that. It's a team sport. It's a team sport. So, it's who you help. It's not all about me, my. You get you a brand new car and you show off, you get you this, and you're not putting anybody down. You're not feeding anybody. You're not teaching anybody how to fish. You're not giving anybody any of your fish. Then you're going to become a walking lick as times get tight, because people not only get mad, but they'll get jealous because, you're not sharing the wealth. You're not showing the love. They don't feel included in your success. I mean, your success is yours, true enough, but nobody gets there by themselves. Somebody played a part. A lot of somebody's played a part, and you should be giving back. Well, with that said, Beyond Babbitt, over and out. Have a nice day. Glad y'all can join me. Let's watch these chess moves going on, because they're saying no World War III, but this could be the head fake. Because as soon as they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them like a woman in travail. So don't believe no peace and safety, peace talks. Stay ready. Stay ready to keep from getting ready. Beyond Babbitt, over and out.